Welcome and aloha. Thank you for joining us for the 2023 Hawaii Counseling and Advising Convening. We would like to remind everyone again that today's presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the event website. Please keep all cameras off and all microphones muted throughout the session if you would not like to be recorded. We would like to thank our live captioners who will be providing closed captioning for accessibility purposes. Since it is live, captions may not accurately reflect what is being said at all times. Captions will be corrected for session recordings. Recordings and resources will be posted to the site between 3 to 4 weeks after today's presentation. If you have any questions for today's presenters, and we hope that you will, please add them to the chat box, and one of us, as moderators, will share your questions at the end of the session. All right, so we are gathered now to hear from friends from the continent who are traveling to us through this platform to share their presentation, Pathways, Policy to Practice. And we are joined by Dr. Lázaro Lopez. He is Interim Superintendent, and Aaron Teresi, Early College Program Supervisor, both with the High School District 214 in Illinois. So without any further ado, let's bring our speakers.
Aloha, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting us and allowing us to join you here today. Our presentation today is on Policy to Practice. We're both practitioners. I am currently the Interim Superintendent of High School District 214. I've been in this role and the Associate Superintendent for the district for the last decade. I also chair the Illinois Community College Board for the state of Illinois, and I've done so since 2015, appointed by both our current and previous governor to that role. And I also work in the workforce sector on the workforce board as I chair the Illinois Youth Apprenticeship leadership group for the state. So lots of practical experience. And I invite my partner here, Erin, to introduce herself and provide us some information about her.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron Teresi. I'm currently the Early College Program Supervisor for District 214. I've been in the role for about 7 years. Prior to this, I was in higher ed, working with advising students directly, a lot of students who were re-entering into college. So it's been fun. I usually handle all of the dual credit stuff for the district. We have a pretty big dual credit program, which we'll get into a little bit here.
Great, thank you. So what's fortunate for you is both of us are both living in higher ed spaces as well as K-12 spaces and in workforce. So that's certainly a unique combination. So the purpose of the session today, we've been asked really to focus on our state policies and practices that have been aimed at increasing the transition from high school to higher ed in Illinois, with the explicit purpose of increasing the likelihood of student persistence and completion to credential. I've been fortunate to be engaged in a lot of our state policy conversations and the work we do on state policy, both on the higher ed and K-12 side. As a high school district, we're able to implement and sort of show proof of concept that these things are feasible. We're going to focus a little bit about minimizing remediation, which we've had a good amount of success here in Illinois in English and math, as well as diversifying access to early college opportunities and the influence that career pathways can have on early employment. So excited, and we're going to jump right into it. First, I want to share the broader lens in the state, this Illinois landscape. We have an Illinois Community College Board, which oversees our 48 community colleges, 39 districts in the state. Each community college district also has its own independent board. So you can imagine the challenges of that. For our Illinois State Board of Education, that oversees K-12 education in the state. We actually also have 872 independent school districts, each with its own elected board, policies, and practices. So you can start to see the complexity of 39 community college districts, 872 K-12 districts. And then we have an Illinois P20 Council, which is written into legislation, whose focus is to try to bring issues and awareness and policy to play for issues that span from P through 20. And then we have our Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. And in conversations about education, often you would not be talking about your Department of Commerce in your state. But in Illinois, we do, because they are extensively involved in both the policy and implementation of practice, both for students and ed in our state that are engaged with both our community colleges as well as even our high schools. So there's a lot of funding that flows through them, and they're an important partner in this work. And I start here to showcase the importance of all of these different entities working together. So from a statewide alignment perspective, you should be familiar with these, I would think. These are different pieces of legislation that impact both higher ed and to some extent K-12. So the Every Student Succeeds Act actually directs the funding for K-12 education. It's those federal dollars, but with it comes a lot of strings and a lot of expectations and requirements for accountability. And particularly on the K-12 side, that accountability really drives the focus of the work in K-12. And how the state defines what those expectations are certainly has direct implications. Perkins, we're all familiar with. It supports career and tech ed. We've leveraged a lot of Perkins dollars and Perkins resources in order to facilitate this transition from secondary to post-secondary. And and Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, which also has significant amount of resources that's supporting both vocational ed, adult ed, apprenticeships, and a myriad of other areas. So there are some specific policy initiatives that have really laid the foundation for Illinois to have some successes in this area, particularly, and as well as for our school district. We're going to be speaking today both from a statewide lens and from a school district lens, and how all of these things interact. So the areas that we're going to talk about is the Illinois Community College Board, which I chair, and its specific goals, the Illinois Articulation Initiative, which is extremely important, codified in legislation, college and career endorsements, excuse me, and this has to do with the framework adopted by the state to encourage students to go through specific pathways to completion. Our PACE framework, which focuses on counselor competencies for post-secondary access, and then College Ready by Design, a specific strategy to ensure that 85% of our students or more are graduating from high school college ready by purposeful design. So we begin with the Illinois Community College Board. So there are three specific goals that the board established for the last several years. The first is ensuring that all the work we do specifically supports a seamless transition of students, both from, excuse me, both from our high schools through policies that ensures the seamless transition, whether it's summer programming, prerequisite models, things that ensure that students are getting a head start where they're in high school so that they can persist and complete while they're in our community colleges or four-year universities. The second is a focus on economic development. So this is where pathways come into play, as well as expanded work-based learning experiences, such as apprenticeships. And the third specific goal is around equitable outcomes, and that is looking system-wide and holding both higher ed institutions as well as K-12 as from a lens of looking at continuous improvement cycle from a lens of equity.
All right, so the Illinois Articulation Initiative, or IAI as we call it, is a statewide transfer agreement. All of our public institutions and then a handful of the private institutions as well participate in it. It's a faculty-driven process, and it essentially agrees that every single gen ed that a student's taking will transfer everywhere in the state. In practice, on our side, this is really helpful for dual credit. When we are choosing those courses, we are looking at IAI. So is the community college that we work with, as is the four-year institution that we work with as well. We know that all of the students might not attend those institutions, and we want to make sure that the students' dual credit is following with them.
The only thing I would add to this, I mean, this is really powerful. Not all states have this type of legislation. What this does is it guarantees that the courses they're taking while they're high school from a dual credit lens, and even from a community college and a student transferring to a university, it works both ways. that if it's an English Composition 101 course, that it's considered the same course no matter what institution you're at, whether it's dual credit in the high school or in a community college classroom or at that university, that those general ed courses are guaranteed to transfer. All public institutions and really almost all of our privates voluntarily participate in the IAI initiative. Oh, I'm controlling the slide deck.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. Next up is the endorsements. So on the screen are the 7 areas that the state has identified as the endorsements. So we have adopted this and have all of our pathways fall under this. And it essentially gives the students currency on their transcript after they've gone through everything that they need to complete. And we'll go into that a little bit in the next slide. This is on their transcript from high school, and the community colleges in the state have started to recognize that and give students something for it. So our local community college is giving our students an introductory college course credit if they have that endorsement on there. So in order for the students to get it, they really have to have 4 things: the individual plan, which our counselors are handling, and it's really the students picking out their pathway, acknowledging what area they're going into, doing all of that career planning so they understand what they need to be successful in that pathway. And then within the pathway, on the high school side, we're making sure that our courses follow the structure. There's the orientation courses, the skill development courses, and then they're getting to a capstone. Within that sequence of courses, there also needs to be dual credit. So we're looking for 6 semester hours of college credit that is embedded in the pathways to ensure that the students can get that endorsement. And then on the work-based learning side, they're also having to have 2 career exploration activities, 2 team-based challenges. We've chosen to try and embed these into all of our pathway courses to make it a little bit easier, but they can also be, after school activities, clubs, that sort of thing. And then they do have to have 60 hours of work-based learning experience. So an internship, apprenticeship. So that's been part of our pathway creation. And then the last thing is that they have to be college math and English ready before they leave us. So hitting those milestones as well.
Keep in mind what this actually means. So this means that a high school student's graduating, they have sort of fully engaged in a pathway, have several courses. They probably have already earned some early credentials. So for example, in IT, they might have already taken the, some of the baseline assessments or early certifications through Cisco, maybe even the 280 plus, the Security Plus certification. It means that they've already had a work experience and they've already begun a network. So think of a student stepping on your college campus that has already identified a pathway, has work experience, has been paid for that work experience, has had these team-based challenges, has networked. They're going to be more informed and more ready. And we've significantly, and they've already got some college credit in hand because they're college ready. They probably already taken English and math. So that means they are more likely significantly to persist and complete to degree completion, which is what the ultimate goal is from a statewide perspective. And so one of the things that seems simple, but it's certainly not, is we developed this Career Pathways Dictionary. This was one of the first projects we did. We had everyone in the room, all of those agencies that you saw at the front end that I talked about, and everyone came together to develop Career Pathways Dictionary. I cannot tell you how important it is for everyone to agree on what something means. It seems simple, but it's actually more difficult than it seems. So we're all operating under the same definition of what terms mean. So this is a full dictionary. You can probably Google it and find it online. I'm sure it's there. And we've already defined as a state, what do we think something is? So we can all move forward on the same pages. And now when there's notice of funding opportunities or other grants, we're all defining the same work. The other piece is, again, how this works is these are the State Board of Education K-12 career ready indicators, which are part of the accountability metrics for high schools. And so in here, again, you see things like career development, obtaining and maintaining employment, earning an industry credential, consecutive summer employment, dual credit courses in your pathway, community service, completing a program of study. As you look through these, you realize that these are those elements that if students are able to actually fully realize, again, they are more likely to be able to persist and complete in a post-secondary program. So even though this is from a K-12 lens, that piece, it has a direct implication for what they're like when they step foot on a higher ed campus. So why is it important for the state agencies to align goals and policies? And what are we trying to impact with our partnerships in our state? Well, this is some of our community college data in Illinois, and this is our graduation rate for 4-year and 2-year institutions for African American and Hispanic students. And you'll fairly quickly, as we go through these are from 2015. The latest data that we have, because of the 6-year cohorts, I think they're updating them now for the 2018 cohort coming up soon. And you can see the gaps among African American, Hispanic students, the 2-year graduation rates, and as compared to our white students, 2-year and 4-year, and our overall graduation rates of 60 and 30%. Now, whenever I talk about graduation rates, particularly among 2-year institutions, I do have to frame it within the context of the advancement rate, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. I do want to say that these are just some studies that I came across that I think are pertinent, and that is that we want to acknowledge that both higher ed bachelor's degree attainment among both African Americans and Hispanics has been on the rise. What's interesting here is that for our Hispanic students, individuals that have been within our education system longer have actually a lower likelihood of persistence to completion than those who have immigrated 5 years or less in the U.S., which I certainly find that interesting. And it certainly speaks to maybe what we're doing with English learners in our schools. But they are on the rise, but there is still the significant gap, as you saw, which is why we have to do these things. But I do want to acknowledge that the advancement rate for institutions and community colleges takes into account that many students that go into community colleges aren't there to finish a degree or a credential. They're there to take coursework so they can transfer over to a 4-year university. When you look at the data from an advancement rate perspective, certainly our 2-year institutions do better. We're closer to 63%, which is a high. But you still see those gaps between African American and Hispanic and white students, although the gap is much smaller when you look at advancement rates. But this is really what drove us to do this work in Illinois and why we've been working since 2015, since 2016 to make these changes. All right, so these are our completion strategies. We're going to talk a little bit about career pathways, early college, sort of our multiple measures work from a statewide perspective, recommendations for placement, co-requisites, and transition courses. All right, I want to start with sort of this concept, and now I'm sort of going to work at both from the higher ed side and the state side, and from the sort of high school district side, and sort of us as a sort of a model of practice, right? And so when we're looking at our high school, we're looking at really these levers of engagement for students to be engaged with the school, meaning that they are in classes, they're attending, they're there with some purpose and some drive. Some students engage with schools sort of along the outside of this lever here, right? So they're into sports and they want to play football, so that's why they show up at high school. They have some activities that they're really interested in, theater, in the fine arts, or student council. Some of them are drawn to some of the real world experiences that we're offering at scale, like work-based learning. But all of those are really simply levers of engagement so that students can experience academic success, academic growth, perform well on state assessments, be college ready, access early college, and really develop this self-efficacy. And that self-efficacy is so important for students to see themselves as in whatever lane they see themselves, being a successful college student, that they can do that and do that effectively. The research supports that those students that when they step on a college campus, they need to feel like they could be successful in that courses. So providing those experiences early on, again, increases their likelihood of success when they leave us, as well as seeing themselves in whatever career context that they're interested in. But the goal of all of the work is really opportunity advancement and post-secondary completion. So meaning for some, it's economic mobility and being able to sort of redefine the trajectory of their family and their lives. For others is, for example, a student who was able to get an early internship at the LA Times because they already had an internship while they were in their high school, and that opened the door for them. So it's unique opportunities, new opportunities, and advancement for whatever that means for the individual student. And we do this purposely through our career pathways model in the high school.
So at District 214, we have 40 career pathways currently. So we have that endorsement model. That's our broadest level. And then underneath that is the 16 career clusters. And then locally, we have 40 career pathways. When we are developing them and looking at the coursework, we're really looking at, is there a sequence of courses that extends beyond high school? So basically, can you get a degree in this? What are you going to do? What jobs are out there? Is there a need for those jobs? We're looking at embedding work-based learning into that pathway for the students. And then we're making sure that every single pathway also has a capstone. Normally, we're trying to get early college credit into that capstone experience. So the senior year is really important with the capstone. And they're also getting an industry credential if there is any available. So those are really our three components to the pathways model that we follow at District 214 every time we're auditing one, creating a new one.
And so we want to show you a short video. It's 4 minutes. It sort of brings to life what we're talking about and what we're going to be talking about and what this looks like from a student voice. I should share that I have some kind of a slide that that talks about the demographics of the district, but we have about 12,000 students. We cover 7 campuses and about 3,000 graduates a year. So just if that's pertinent so that you're aware. So let me start the video here. Unmute it. It's about 4 minutes.
When I started high school, I was confident in my career choice. I knew I wanted to pursue a career in education. And High School District's 214's Career Pathways program gave me the head start I needed. I took classes to prepare me for my future career, had opportunities to earn early college credit, and even completed an internship in my career path. That real-world experience helped me discover my future. And it isn't in education. My high school experience helped me better define my true passion. It turns out that I love communications, and I hope someday to have a career in broadcast journalism. And guess what? Even though I started the Pathways program in one area, I was able to easily change direction and do a multimedia internship where I wrote, edited, and produced a video.
That's what the Pathways program is all about, opportunities and options, and it's available to every single District 214 student. The goal is to make sure you graduate knowing what you want to do for the rest of your life, or what you don't. The way I look at it, they're helping us succeed. Educators here are focused on our future success, no matter what our path may be. For me, high school has helped me break out of my shell. I did musicals and track and the AVID courses, which helped me prepare for college. And through Career Pathways, I took advantage of so many new courses. I was able to take business, marketing, and finance classes. Those opportunities combined showed me what I wanted to do, sports marketing.
So what is Career Pathways? It's a sequence of courses and experiences to help us get from high school to college and careers. It's a program to make sure we leave college, career, and life ready. Throughout this program, I was able to intern in the research department here at Northwest Community Hospital, and it was incredible. That's not something most high school students get to do. Other students have completed apprenticeships in areas like cybersecurity, so they're getting paid to learn critical career skills. Others have earned endorsements in specific career fields.
In all, we can choose from nearly 4 dozen programs of study across 16 nationally recognized career clusters. A career cluster is a group of career fields with a common theme. District 214 offers architecture and construction, education, health sciences, information technology, law, manufacturing, science, engineering, mathematics, and more.
Within each of these are specialized areas of study focused on a career that interests you. For instance, in law, you could focus on legal services or law enforcement. In health science, you'll complete supervised clinical hours towards a certified nursing assistant credential to begin your career as you focus on coursework for pre-medicine, nursing, or other allied health fields. It all depends on you.
Through career pathways, you can earn early college credits while you're in high school. That saves you time and money and helps you achieve career credentials and gives you work-based learning experiences. District 214 engages with nearly 1,500 businesses to offer student internships and paid apprenticeships, and partners with colleges and universities to deliver career programs such as aviation and education. The District 214 Center for Career Discovery matches you to internships and provides other opportunities to explore careers, career nights, workplace tours, classroom presentations, and speakers. Some of them are alumni who once walked our same path.
The high schools continue to support your path with career-focused clubs and experiences like mock trial and robot rumble or college field trips, and so much more.
You don't have to leave high school knowing every step of your career, but you'll leave ready to discover your future. To learn more about career pathways, visit d214.org or talk to your counselor.
All right.
Okay. So they do such a good job in that video. I love it. But we wanted to give you a little snapshot of a few of our pathways and kind of how we've implemented them. I will say that they're never static. We are constantly reviewing them, getting teacher feedback, student feedback, feedback from our post-secondary institutions, and updating as needed. But here in the education pathway, it's an interesting one because we have two post-secondary partners. Because one of our post-secondary partners, National Louis University, does not offer any degrees for secondary education. And we know that our students also want to be high school teachers. So we're also partnered with Eastern Illinois University on the secondary ed side of things. The students have the ability to take 4 dual credit courses in this pathway, I should say strategic dual credit courses. They also got embedded into it, and this is in every single one of our pathways: college math, speech, and composition. Those are those gen ed courses, and they're also the students' ability to get the college math and English done while they're with us, so that we know they're leaving us college English and college math ready. This particular pathway is so cool because our capstone, we call it Education Academy. A lot of them are named Academy. The students are actually out in the community observing student teaching and doing things that, college seniors are doing, but they're doing it as a senior in high school. So they're leaving us absolutely positive that they want to be a teacher, or positive that they don't want to be a teacher, because what better way to figure that out than when you're actually in there giving a lesson and understanding, like, yes, I can absolutely do this for the rest of my life, or no, I don't want to. So I wanted to highlight that one here. Can we go to the next one?
And Aaron, I wanted to just add for the education one, and I think we're going to just probably skip through the next two, but they'll be in your slide deck for you to look at.
Oh, sure.
Another way the state's working together is, so for a student in the education pathway, if they earn the endorsement, they have and they're a underrepresented population in education. So our Hispanic, African American students, they qualify for $7,500 per year starting freshman year through a minority teacher scholarship fund in the state. So that means if they get the endorsement, they are guaranteed they will have access to $30,000 toward college in our state. And our state not only provides enough MAP grants that if you're a student of poverty, you can pretty much go to community colleges for free, but also it includes undocumented students have access to those dollars as well, which we're very proud of. So go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to add, if we're not going to get into it too much more, we did learn along the way that these courses, you heard the students talk about it. We want them to be able to come in and out of pathways. It's definitely not an academy model where they're stuck in it. If they want to change, they absolutely can. And one of the ways we have found that's beneficial for them is to have those semesterized courses. So that was a big focus for us, making sure all of the courses in the pathway are semesterized and students can, after taking an orientation course first semester freshman year, switch into health science if they decide that they don't want to teach for the rest of their lives. So that is one of our big takeaways.
That's a great point. And you're seeing one path here. We also, I believe, although it looks like you've represented early childhood here as well. That's good. Yeah. All right, so we do have some other pathways here: construction management and systems. You can see the gray is all of the college side. Same thing, the goal is for students to get to endorsements, and we have post-secondary partners in all of these and opportunities for youth apprenticeships. And so embedded in all these are college credits, specifically because we know, both in our local studies and other studies, that if students earn 15 college credits, they're twice as likely to persist and complete to credential. So that is why I will tell you, as a high school, we're not interested in being a college. However, what we want to do is ensure that students get to 15 college credits and specific courses, which Aaron's going to talk about just in a little bit. So within that is this concept of college ready by design. And that means that during high school senior year, that students have access to, if they don't meet the benchmarks to be able to participate in college level English and college level math, that they are in transition courses, which I'll go more in depth in a moment. But those transition courses happen during senior year in partnership with the local community college, and those courses are transcribed and portable statewide, and they serve as one way to go directly into college level coursework in college. If students do meet the benchmarks in order to access college English and college math, then they have access to taking that while they're in high school senior year, whether that's college quantitative math, college algebra, or advanced placement courses in Calc. And we also actually offer Calc 3 and DiffEQ. So that's so all students have access. The other effort we did as a state, which probably may not be a problem for you in Hawaii, but because we have 39 community college districts as well as many universities, we actually came to a consensus as to what are our cut scores. Prior to us sort of adopting a single multiple measure approach statewide, if you lived in one community, your benchmark and cut score to access college level English and math might have been different than if you lived in another. And so it was quite inequitable where a student may be in developmental math in one community, but not in another. So we standardized that. As well as passing AP equity, we standardize access to, if you take an AP course and you score a 3 or above, all public institutions have to provide credit. So we standardize that as well. We also invested heavily in a co-requisite developmental ed model. There's some details there you can see, but we have found some significant success where students are both in the gateway course as well as in this co-requisite course that provides the support for the students. And we just put out a publication I probably could share if someone was interested with the Partnership for College Completion, describing what this work looks like in our state. And we know the reason we have focused on remedial education coursework is because of the significant impact it has, which I'm sure I don't have to tell this audience, that they have substantially lower outcomes related to graduation rates, advancement rates, and credit accumulation, and that it disproportionately affects Black and Latinx students, right? So we want to make sure we minimize that. That is also why we've done these transition courses. So this slide just sort of focuses on this idea that all high schools having access to these transition courses, where if a student is expected not to meet the benchmarks for college level coursework, that they have access to these transition courses senior year in both math and in English. There is a transition course in math for technical math, college algebra, and Calc. And so all of the different levels of math so that students can ensure they are college ready when they leave high school. So they don't have to just depend on a test score. So I won't go into this, but this is part of the process. We began it in 2017 in math, 2019 in English, and we've been growing exponentially across all of our campuses. Obviously, math is further along than English, but our data and our results, I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but our data and results has been really phenomenal. I mean, we've had an overall 44% decrease in the amount of enrollment in our remedial coursework. These are a few slides to sort of show these trends. This one shows sort of this downward trend specifically in reading and in math and overall as a state. As a high school district, we've seen us go to single digits. At one point, we were close to 30% of our students who may need some remedial level coursework. We're down to 8 to 10%. These are in our community colleges. All right, hold on a second. All right, so that's sort of the developmental ed side, the remedial ed side. And then the dual credit side for those students who actually are able to, is this one mine or yours, Aaron? I guess it's mine, right? For the dual credit side, this is a statewide data. So statewide, these are where most of our dual credit courses have landed, specifically in writing, basically English and math and Spanish. So it sort of shows you where that's at, where the top courses are. And I know Aaron's going to speak specifically to 214 and our work in this space. This is some other study we've done here, particularly in Illinois, and that is basically if you access prior dual credit enrollment, you're almost twice as likely again to graduate and to complete. So just a significant impact dual credit has, and these strategies have had to our completion rates and our advancement rates, I think, is where they're most evident. We'll move on from this. This is our demographic breakdown in the state. And Aaron, I think you're going to talk about from a high school lens again, what this looks like in high school.
Yep. So for us, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the senior year is just so important. We know that, we have a ton of students who decide that they want to graduate early, but that's probably not the best option for them because they aren't actually continuing to college. They're taking the gap year and never going back. So how do we engage them and keep them interested in their senior year? We've developed a bunch of early college credit and then also an early college program where students are taking online coursework. We have internships and apprenticeships available for them, career academies, which are capstone experiences. One that we like to highlight is aviation. You can see the students on the top left. They are at an airport hangar for their class, which they go to twice a week. It's taught through one of our university partners. There's literally an airplane in the hangar that they're being taught this coursework at. It's incredible. And they all know that they want to be pilots or aviation maintenance technicians. So really engaged in senior year through that. And then we also have middle college, which we'll go into a little bit as well. When we're picking out dual credit to make sure that it's strategic, it's credit with a purpose. It's not just credit to get the students credit. Getting to 15 hours should be purposeful. It should be those gen ed courses that we know are IAI and they're going to transfer. So we focus on getting every single student composition, speech, and then a dual credit math. We really reworked our course sequence with our math and English teams and got rid of electives for seniors so that their course offerings are just the early college credit, the AP credit, and then I guess Calc 3 is really our capstone for anyone who is on the math side. We also have dual credit in language and then the rest of our dual credit, and we have about 76 course offerings in dual credit with a little over 10,000 enrollments this year. The rest of the courses are really those career pathway courses. So they're the major courses, highly transferable is what we're looking for these students. Again, we know that they're not all going to go to these universities that we're partnered with, but how do they get a taste of the major that they're going to go into? And then also have the ability to see themselves in that space. So middle college is our capstone for business, and it's one we're really excited about. The students go start their bachelor's degree and they get a whole year of their undergrad completed while they're still with us as seniors in high school. So their mornings are spent at National Louis University getting that first year of their bachelor's degree, and then their afternoons are back with us because they are still high school seniors, we know that they want to be at lunch. They want to be there for Spirit Week and all of those things as well.
We're going to go through our data points quickly so that we can get to work-based learning. So I'm just going to highlight these sort of quickly, Erin, just to save on time. So this is just the success and the impact we've had over 7 years. Our Latinx students' access to dual credit grew from 38 to 74% of our Latinx students, either through AP or through dual credit. Predominantly, dual credit has had the impact for our African-American students from 19 to 76%. We've eliminated those gaps. Percentage of students with 15 or more hours of college credit by the time they leave us are 3,000 now, 41%. I will say and we also have about another 27% that are accessing 8 to 14 early college credit hours. So 68% of our students are leaving with at least 8 semester hours college credit or more. And these are our remediation rates overall. And then it just shows 85% of our graduates are leaving with some early college credit at least. And we're currently at a 62% completion rate because our metric really is 6 years out from graduation from high school. And then I do want us to transition a little bit here to wrap up at the end here, our work-based learning strategies. So maybe you can speak briefly just on some of these on our materials that people can find.
Yeah, so the Academic Programs and Pathways Guidebook is really your traditional academic handbook meshed together with the pathways. So the students can see what their 4-year sequence looks like. It's a physical representation of all of our work in this space. It's available on our website if you want to dive into it. Internship,
right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, internships is part of that as well, and those materials are available on there. And then, did you want me to go into the academic planning a little bit and the
I think probably not. I mean, it's similar to what they're probably accustomed to, but the focus really is on. It's not that we think students who are 14 know what they want to do with the rest of their life. It's about moving the decision-making process earlier and allowing them to go through this process of elimination while they're in high school, so they're never locked into anything. They're identifying a pathway, and one of the things they can identify is undecided, right? And then we've got staff that's going to help students do the exploration activities to help them take coursework to help them decide, or other experiences. Maybe you can speak to this a little bit.
Yeah, so we have a ton of students who are getting all of these college credits, and they don't always know what that means, and they don't know what college really means. So we have something called early advising, where our partner at EIU, they're our biggest post-secondary partner, has the students down to Eastern. We have Zoom sessions where they learn like what a credit hour means, because that's so different from taking one class in high school, and just all of those things. And then by the end, if they decide to go to EIU, they get an early academic schedule and a one-on-one advising session.
It is amazing sometimes to me. Sometimes we have surveyed our dual credit students that sometimes they're sitting in the dual credit class and they didn't know they were in a college class, even though they know. We've told them their parents have filled out the paperwork. They've got the syllabus, and they're still. Sometimes the concept is just so foreign to them. They've got no schema to attach it to that they don't fully understand it. When they start getting their grades, they understand it though. When they get a transcript,
yeah.
Right?
And they have to pay. Yeah.
And they have to pay, right?
Yeah.
We do have significant advising models to support students through the apprenticeships and through internship experiences. But I did want us to get to some of these work-based learning, which was one of the goals over these last few minutes. And I want to show you a couple of videos so you can see what it looks like. So all students have access to internships and apprenticeships. This is a youth apprenticeship. Some of them are registered with the Department of Labor. Some of them are state youth apprenticeships. The state ones are about 450 hours. All of these are competency-based, and they all earn escalating wages. And let me give you an example. I want to show you this first video of one of our students who's an apprentice and what their experience is like. This is only about a minute or so.
Hi, my name's Ria. Today we're here at Northwest Community Hospital. I'm going into senior year of high school and I'm working as an apprentice. Hi, Sue. I put the sit to stand lift. I put it in the therapy gym for you.
Northwest Community was very interested in working with District 214 with this apprenticeship program. I figured it would be a wonderful opportunity to bring a student onto the unit and expose them to what we do here in the hospital. It's a great learning opportunity for students here, great experience right off the bat. And of course, the extra help in the hospital setting is certainly appreciated.
Hi, I'm going to do your blood pressure. I'm on the rehab unit right now, so I learn a lot about stroke victims, brain injuries, things like that, and basically how to care and aid for patients who have weakness or they have aphasia where they can't talk. I took the CNA class at Hersey, my high school. We did it at the school, and I think it definitely helped me because the entire class was training on how to be a CNA/PCP. So everything I learned, I use all that education every day while here at my job.
Okay, your pressure is 137/86.
One of my favorite things to do throughout the day is just talking to patients and making sure everything's in check. And if it's not, I'll help them get there and make sure everything's all right. Throughout being an apprentice and, getting my CNA license and being a PCT here at the hospital, it definitely helped me realize that I want to pursue the medical field and I hopefully want a future in nursing.
All right. So imagine that student and what an advantage they have as they transition. I don't recall. I believe this is the student that wants to. She wants to be a nurse. We have another one who's there at the same hospital, and one who's working at Greek rehab who wants to be a surgeon. So they're having these experiences. For example, the student who wants to be a surgeon, but they're beginning to network within the healthcare field. I mean, they have a real sense that this is what they want to do. It's not a concept. It's not a foreign idea. It's not theoretical. It's a real experience. The challenge is doing this at scale, right? Right now, these are all the apprenticeable areas that we are offering. You can see that they're quite disparate. Some of them we lead internally. For example, in our cybersecurity, we have a need for those individuals. So we're running apprentices, cybersecurity apprentices. We also have some in the community with banks and with the village. We also have information technology one. Those are registered Department of Labor apprentices. It is really exciting. We did it to ensure that students who felt they needed to work and earn money while they were in school didn't have to choose between their future and having to have some money now in order to help with their family, right? So that they had that as an option. It really was to ensure that our students, particularly our students of poverty, have that opportunity and that access. But we also run thousands of other internship experiences in the districts that are not paid or for credit. Erin, why don't you just explain a little bit about how the schedule piece works? Because that's a huge challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's personalized based on every single student because you have to remember you're working with the post-secondary partner. Most of these students are going off campus onto our community college campus for their coursework. And then you're also working with the partner who is actually employing them. And school tends to run at the exact same time as employers want people to be in working. So the students have to have a little bit of flexibility in their day. If you can look on, we're on the block schedule. So on B days, and this is just a sample, that student has the entire day blocked off. So they've worked with their employer to say every other day I'll be there to work. And on A days, they're in their dual credit classes that we pick out specifically for them. It's related to what they'll end up majoring in, kind of that pathway model again. And then they're always taking the dual credit math and dual credit English because we want them to be leaving us with those credits as well.
And Erin, they might be on a college campus, right, for their dual credit class, for their other class, right? Some of their classes is possible.
Yeah, we try and get them back into the high school as much if we can for the dual credit English and math. And then if that CNA student, she goes to our community college every other day to take human anatomy and human physiology. We can't teach those courses on our high school campus because we can't have cadaver labs. So
and I don't want
them. Yeah, he said no. So we don't have them. So she goes over there for that. So that's a real big part of the scheduling aspect to make sure that she can make her classes over there and then has enough time to do all of the studying that she needs to do, because those are hard courses, and then also can go to work every day.
So let me show you one more example that the way we get the scale to thousands, micro internships. These are 30 hours, typically unpaid. And it's for those students, you figure you can squeeze in 30 hours within a week during a summer break, winter break, or it could be on Saturdays, it could be after school. And let me show you this one last 1 minute video, and it shows you what that could look like. This is a business student.
Hi, I'm Carson Koklanis. I'm going to be a senior, and I'm an intern here at the Schaumburg Boomers. This is a marketing internship set through District 214. Schaumburg Boomers. I'm in a micro internship. One of the cool parts about that is not going to be here for that long, so they're kind of giving me a taste of everything that goes on between like promotions or concessions or selling tickets. So they're kind of spreading me out everywhere, and I get to see everything that goes on.
So I've worked in baseball for 18 years now, and I've had many different intern classes throughout the years. We've almost exclusively been with college, age interns. I know our internship programs over the years have been the source of most of our full-time jobs. And this is my first experience with high school level interns and kind of that micro internship concept. And it's been, so far so good. It's been enjoyable to see people get their first taste within the business.
My parents and I both wanted me to do an internship. So, and I knew that not a lot of high schoolers get the opportunity to just see if they even want to work where they think they're working. And it's just a good way to know if you want to continue the path that you're on or look into something else if you don't like it as much. This has been a really cool experience, learning about the business side of sports, and I really enjoy it, and thanks for setting it up.
All right. Doesn't he look happy? That was a great experience for him. I know that doesn't look like any of our high school experiences. And then we also have traditional internship experiences, which are more 60 hours, typically unpaid, but there are times when students have been paid. And I can give you hundreds of examples like these in all sorts of industries, if you're interested to learn more about it. And then the last piece is we do have embedded experiences. For example, in healthcare, we have every Thursday, a group of students that are doing rounds, rotating through different departments Thursday mornings at the local hospital. In our engineering classes, they're building robots for that robot rumble with some engineering partners and individuals from the community that come in our business classes. We've got guest lecturers. We have about 30 in each school that are business people who are coming in sort of teaching specific concepts as part of the curriculum. So lots of engagement with the community, lots of real world experiences to help students sort of go through that path. But at the end of the day, it really is sort of connecting policy and what we're doing at the state level with creating a framework that supports this concept of career pathways, ensuring students can transition, they have access to early college credit, and really begin networking for a future with the ultimate goal of post-secondary completion. So everyone wins. With that, I know we went 100 miles an hour, and we're open to any questions anyone might have. Dana, Christy, as our moderators there, anything you want us to focus on?
Thank you so much. I think I can speak on behalf of all of the attendees that we will be going over your materials and looking up resources and digging into the wealth of information and examples that you shared. It's really impressive. The data you were able to share on the reduction in remedial coursework for students is such a key indicator. So thank you for all of that. We do have a few questions that we'd like to get to in the few minutes that we have left. Maybe going back again to just clarify for us, because it does sound like it's different than what we have happening in state right now, between the transition classes and the co-requisite classes. Who is taking each of those? How does that function?
Erin, did you want to answer that? You look like you're ready.
Okay, so co-rec is on the community college side. If the student's not placed into college credit coursework by their score, and they get a high enough score, so they're somewhere in between, they're able to take the co-requisite course on that side. In the high school side, we have transitional math and English, and those students that aren't placed into dual credit are able to take transitional, and it's the exact same as the remedial course at the community college. So that credit is being transcribed, and then they're immediately placed into college level coursework when they go to the community college, and it's portable throughout the state. So you don't have to just go to that community college with that portable credit.
It's called a transition course because it's not developmental ed or remedial when you're still 17 in the high school.
Great. Thank you for that distinction. And then this was early on in the presentation, but you mentioned a dictionary.
Yes.
Could you maybe talk just briefly about what the first step was to get to that? It's clearly that helped bring so many different players on board and literally speaking the same language, but how do you begin that task?
I will tell you that this came out of really the governor's office and sort of our education deputy governor during the last administration, and I was on the transition team. And one of our goals, I mean, really, we operated as significant silos, even within education and also within many of the state's departments. And there was this interest in sort of bringing us together to at least be able to speak the same language. So it did start with some convener, and the convener was out of the governor's office. It doesn't have to be the governor's office, but it certainly brought everyone to the table. And I remember being in a room in Springfield at our state capitol, and it was quite the collection of individuals from workforce, higher ed, K-12. I'm talking about the state superintendent of schools, the executive directors for the higher ed, both the community college side and the university side. And so you need a convener. You can certainly use our dictionary sort of as a basis of what are the terms and what are the concepts we're trying to define. And I will also tell you the other lever were a lot of the state and a lot of these federal grants. Because the entire state speaks the same language, we are able to leverage multiple agencies towards significant resources in both federal and even private foundation dollars, because we're aligned from that lens. That and the II legislation were probably the two most important pieces to the puzzle as foundational to the work.
Great. Thank you for speaking a little bit more to that. It seems both like a critical component of your success that you've been able to do and a massive undertaking.
Yes.
Okay, let me go through and see what else.
And the Illinois Articulation Initiative, I will tell you, is a massive undertaking. We have teacher panels of 20 to 30 teachers for every single course. So I don't want to undersell that, how much work that is.
Right. And I think for all of us listening from our context, we're imagining both some of the, how do we translate? We're imagining some of the additional challenges that come with the size that you're working with. Also, maybe some of the advantages that come with that size, and scheduling and offerings come to mind immediately for me when I think about how you can leverage the numbers of students you're working with. Okay, it looks like this is our last opportunity for questions in the chat. I think we've wrapped up all of the areas of questions that we received. If you have any additional thoughts or guidance for us?
No, I just want to thank you all for having us, and it was our pleasure to be able to share some of the work that we're doing in our state, and we're certainly a resource, or I can certainly connect you with resources at all the agencies.
Well, thank you both, Laz and Aaron. We so appreciated your presentation, and again, just the wealth of experience you bring to the discussion and all of the resources and your openness to sharing. So thank you again. And thank you to all of our attendees for joining us for this session. Please do complete the session survey so we can learn about your thoughts and suggestions for the convening. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Mahalo.
you.